Hello, I'm Speer and I'm a professor in the creative writing program at Missouri. And I'd like to read to you from a novel in progress, which is the third novel of the Fresh Hour trilogy. It's framed and being remembered in the late 1960s, told in the first person by a cameraman who's had a long career in Hollywood. But he's remembering back when he moved from Texas to the time he moved from Texas to New York to try to get a job. And what he finds when he hangs around New York is that he he can get jobs as a walk-on part at famous players and the various other places. But in the hubbub of the city, he can't seem to get a real job of any kind. And he remembers movie production was draining out of New York. Louis Mayer, William Fox, Sam Goldfish, the Warner Brothers, all the former scrap merchants and glove salesmen and janitors who'd been in the movie business were decamping and moving west. I was in the wrong town, although I didn't understand it at the time. And then times are getting tough because the war is starting, and he eventually gets a job working at a company, a small company that takes called the Novelty Slide Office. It takes photographs of actors to put on pillow covers. And he meets Blanche Sweet one day in that role, and he sidles into the room and struck up a conversation with her, asking if she knew where I could get a job working in movies. She gave me a momentary appraising look. "Come here, young man, look at my face." I took a couple of steps and she said, "Is there anything wrong with it?" "Wrong with what?" "My face. If it's going to be on pillowcases, I want it to look right." "Please check me. Are the curls right?" I managed to stand within a few feet of her and bend down and look at her famous face. Fame creates magnetism, of course, but Blanche Sweet really was a conversation stopper in looks. And this was a three-dimensional color version. "Is it all right?" she said, focusing with a faraway look. "Perfect," I said, about to fall in her lap. "And back away now. That's a good boy. You have very interesting eyes for a kid, you know. What did you want to know?" "I wonder if where I can get a job in movies." The photographer took several shots as she easily assumed the ingenue pose, rolling her eyes upward, raising her chin slightly, looking a little pleading and pleasing at once. "Are you an actor?" she asked. "I'd like to be a cameraman. I'd like to make movies." "Well, that's not too hard." "Do you like to boss people around?" She gave me a smile. "Tell the girls how much of their clothes to take off?" "Well, I do like clothes. I guess I'd enjoy that," I managed to say. She laughed. "Well, there's hope for you then, but you'll have to move to California. We go to Los Angeles every winter now. They're making all the cowboy movies out there. The sun's so dependable." Actors liked California, she told me, because they didn't get pink swollen eyes from carbon dust at the Klieg lights. "But they work you hard and it's boring. Mr. Griffith hardly lets you eat lunch." She sighed and looked at me. "You want my advice, kid? My parents were in vaudeville, and they taught me that you can't just dream, you have to dive in. But toughen yourself up or they'll laugh you out of the place. That's my advice." There was something wonderfully open about her. She squinted a little when she spoke, resting those famous eyes directly on mine, as if the message was for me alone. "Work hard, toughen yourself up, go to California."